What is going on, guys? This is the deck profile for Miracle Rogue. This is the deck that got me to Legend for the first time. This deck is a ton of fun. Before we get into the profile, I want to remind you guys to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The support that has been given so far and that will be given is so much appreciated, so thank you guys so much so far. Now let's get into this. What is the goal of this deck? Well, if you've ever played a Miracle Rogue deck before or in any other card game, I don't think that's unique to Hearthstone. The goal is to do a whole bunch of combo turns and overwhelm the opponent or kill the opponent. If you played Hearthstone back in the day, you'll notice there's no Gadget and Auctioneer in this deck because it's not being used. Instead, we go for our big dig turns with the new card Secret Passage. It is a 1-mana spell that replaces, it does not draw, so if there are bombs in your deck, you do not take damage. It replaces your hand with 5 cards from your deck, and you swap back next turn. This card is nuts. I've seen a lot of rogues use this for lethal. In this deck, you're not necessarily doing it for lethal. You are using it to make those combo turns bigger. So don't think of it as I need to dig for Eviscerate. I need to dig for Blackjack Stunner so I can get Taunt out of the way. No, just dig for stuff that's going to help you make your 2 best cards in the deck, Edwin VanCleef and Questing Adventurer, bigger. Both of those cards are the cornerstone of this deck. If these are your opening hand, by turn 3 or 4, usually you can have 6/6, 8/8, big minions that your opponent will have trouble dealing with. Luckily, I did only go against 1 priest this climb, but I feel like if you play that matchup a little smarter, keep your minions' health around 4, you can mitigate their control tools. In this deck, we do run the Secret Passage. We run Ambush, which summons a 2/3 poisonous when your opponent plays a minion. We run Dirty Tricks. You draw 2 cards after your opponent casts a spell. And we run Plagiarize. And this is one of the new cards too. At the end of your opponent's turn, add copies of the cards they played to your hand. And this is really good for those big Kel'Thas turns from Druid or Mount Seller. It's good for any buffs that Paladin may drop. You just get those buffs. It's just a really good card. The timing takes a little bit getting used to. I don't think I've figured out perfectly yet, but do it on those big swing turns that every deck tends to have nowadays. We also run Shadow Jewel or Hanar. This is really good for shutting down kind of more controlling or just very aggressive decks. I wouldn't say very aggressive, I apologize. Decks that make big things. You can kind of dig through secrets through Discover. Freezing traps are really good, pressure plates, anything that kind of stops your opponent's big stuff or control stuff from happening, counterspell. And you can also discover spells that resummon or protect Hanar, like Pack Tactics or Redemption from Paladin. It's a really, really good card. And it's a really good card if you are in a place that you need to dig for secrets. I would not say you keep this in your opening hand most of the time. Again, you're always looking for those combo turns with Edwin and Questing Adventurer. And you make those combo turns happen with cards like Backstab, 0-cost spell, Preparation, a card we have not run for a very long time because it was nerfed. It used to make your spells cost 3 less. Now all spells in your deck cost 0 or 2. So all your spells can cost 0 with Preparation, and that 1 mana spell will still cost 0. And Shadow Step, which you can Shadow Step back Blackjack Stunner, which if you control a secret, you return a minion to its owner hand. It costs 1 more. Pharaoh Cat, another 1-mana minion. Wand Thief, which when you combo it, you discover a mage spell. And you can kind of just go off, discover a bunch of spells, and generate a bunch of reborn minions, send minions back to the opponent's hand. And with that, you make, when you're doing that 0-mana combo, you're making Adventurer bigger and Edwin bigger if you play him that turn. We also have the combo card that generates Lackeys, Evil Miscreants. Again, you play 1-mana things, you bounce them back to hand. They have really good battle cries, and you make your threats bigger. This deck also runs Infiltrator Lillian. This is the card that I am most unsure about in the deck. It does do a lot of work. It's a pretty good aggressive tool. It has stealth. When it dies, it summons a 4/2 that attacks random enemy. You kind of want to pop it off on your turn. You don't really want your opponent doing it. So try to make sure it dies. I think you can even backstab it after it attacks. Like if it goes face, you can backstab it, and then the Forsaken will probably go face or to a different target if they have minions on the board. And we also run Janus Barrel. This card is nuts. Battle Cry, summon 2 random 5-cost minions. Secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. This card is really good. You can Shadow Step it. If you get the Witchy Lackey that evolves, you can evolve either the minion that's going to die or Janus to make a 6-cost minion. And the 6-cost minion will not die if you chose it. So that's really good too. This whole deck flows really well. You do kind of get into some issues if you don't open with Questing or Edwin, but we do have some draw in Dirty Tricks. So I'm not going to tell you guys to craft this deck right away. That's not because this deck is bad. This deck is very good. I know a lot of people within the Queen C Discord, myself, Hat, and Zacho have all had success with it, but the meta is so volatile right now that it is hard to recommend decks to craft. Nothing has settled yet. Last weekend, Druid and Paladin were tier 1. I'm hearing they're now around tier 2 because the meta has adjusted to beat them. One thing I will say is that aggro is kind of hard to deal with in this deck. Stealth Road especially, which can just generate minions that you can't trade with. They have to trade first or just go face first. So be aware and play a little conservative, but if you can get a big Edwin out before they can kind of create a bunch of threats, you're going to win. So guys, that is the deck. I'm going to show you 2 games in this video. Both are from the early part of my Legend Climb when I was recording, and then I kind of stopped recording for the rest of it. But they were both good games. They both kind of showcase how the deck is supposed to work. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little deck profile. I hope you enjoy the games. Remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. I got some cool games coming up this week. I got some Bomb Warrior. So yeah, I'm excited to show you guys some stuff. Maybe some Battlegrounds. But anyway, subscribe for that stuff. And thank you guys so much. I will see you later. Alright guys, I know that I said I had 2 videos to show you. I thought I only had 2. It's actually 3 games in here, so a little bit of a bonus, a little bit of a longer video. So you will probably notice that some of the games get kind of laggy. Again, that's just, like I said in the last video, OBS and Deck Tracker, which is actually not on right now. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes don't like to cooperate. But we mulligan hard for Questing Adventurer, and we're just going to play a Feral Cat. The good thing about this deck is that it's not very popular right now. I think after the Vicious Syndicate report, it probably becomes a little more popular. But a lot of people kind of think this is just an aggro rogue. So you can kind of surprise some people. He only plays his 1/2 Spellburst minion, and we draw into Prep, which we're going to just use with one of our 2-mana spells and our Questing Adventurer. And he's going to actually end up coining out Evil Miscreant when he does it. And I think I make a misplay after he does. I'm still waiting for him to think through his turn. Yeah, so he's going to coin out Evil Miscreant, get 2 lackeys in his hand. So there's kind of 2 plays I can do. I can prep a Vis with the Questing on board, or I can prep Plagiarize. I go for the Secret, and I'm not entirely sure if that was the correct play. I think keeping him off board was probably smart, but I'm also kind of thinking here that if I am able to steal any of his lackeys, it's just going to make my Questing Adventurer bigger, which is fine by me. Again, we're just trying to make him big man to deal big damage. And he's going to evolve it into a 5/2, so I guess it's good that we kept our Abyss up, but I mean, even if we didn't, the Abyss would have not made a 5, we would have killed the lackey, and there wouldn't be a 5/2 on board anyways. We do get the minions off Plagiarize, all of which are 1 cost. We do have to use the Eviscerate, though, to kill the Scorpion. So we're going to Eviscerate the Scorpion, activate the Spellburst on our Initiate. And then I kind of think about what should I discover? A dragon, add a reborn minion to my hand, or evolve a minion. And I think I'm thinking between the Draconic Lackey and the Feral Cat.
because I don't really want to evolve a 3-2. That's pretty good. I'm definitely not evolving the Questing Adventurer. Make a 7-7. Discover a reborn minion in that mummy. And of course, go face for 7. So he's going to draw. His play here is to Secret Passage. He's digging to get rid of the Questing Adventurer, either through, I guess, Sap or Eviscerate. Eviscerate and the trade with the Initiate does kill Questing Adventurer. But he's going to get a VanCleef. I think he's looking for freeze at this point. He's kind of digging. And he gets Transfer Student, so he's just going to discover a dragon. Not too much of an issue for me. And Questing Adventurer is only going to grow from here. He's going to add the cards back to his hand. That animation is so cool. I'm sorry it's a little slow. He has a big hand. That is scary, but I think he kind of realizes he can't do anything if he will concede. And this was one of the first games of my climb. This is against a Paladin. Against Paladin, it's not that hard to beat them now. I think that's kind of why they fell out of favor. They're on around tier 2 now, I think. Because if you just take their stuff off board, you just win. They have nothing to buff. So I'm kind of thinking what we want to kick out. We don't really want to kick out anything. We have the Dirty Tricks to draw cards. If it sticks and he buffs something, which wouldn't make any sense because he's buffing something, then we can just kick it back to hand. So we're going to chill. He's going to do nothing, and we're going to play Dirty Tricks. We drew another Blackjack Stunner, which is awesome. That card used to kick cards back to the hand and make them cost 2 more. That's ridiculous. And we're just kind of hoping to go off with Edwin next turn if we can. But we drew Questing, which is probably better. So we're just going to Questing here. And just backstab, I think. The other play would be to just Dagger. But it looks like we're going to try and go in with the Questing Adventure, which is fine by me. I think I'm kind of thinking that, okay, we'll go in with Questing now. If we need to go off with Edwin later, we can. With more cards too, because we're going to draw with Dirty Tricks. He's thinking of how to deal with this. He's going to just, he must have a really slow hand because he's just going to make a 1-1. We're going to go in with Hanar. Not really in the hopes of killing anything with it, more of just to discover more secrets if we need to. And he's going to play Libra, he's going to coin and then play Libra of Justice. I kind of watched this a little bit beforehand, so I know what he's going to do. He's just thinking through his plays. Yeah, there's the coin. But he does activate my Dirty Tricks, which is really nice. We get an ambush off it and a Pharaoh Cap. Now, I think the right play here is actually going with Edwin, if we can. Kind of can, kind of can't. So we're just going to ambush instead. I think we go off with Edwin a little later, just because we don't really have the resources to right now. And we're going to take a... I forgot what that secret is, but basically when my minion dies, I can resurrect it with 1 health. No. That is the card that when he summons a minion, it's summoned with 1 health. When it also gets some snakes going on too. I kind of wish I got that noble sacrifice earlier so I could keep Hanar alive for later, but fortunately we did not. But snakes are good, ambush is good for whatever he plays, and we have the set anything to 1. We're in a really good spot for protecting future minions and not just Hanar. Unfortunately, Hanar's going to die here. There are some turns when Hanar just goes off and they just can't deal with it, so it's probably smarter that he's dealing with it. I kind of wish he dealt with it last turn. But... I'm trying to remember. I think he's going to play something on this because his hand is just really slow if he can't. Yeah, he's going to give it +2/+2. And this is where we go off with Edwin because Edwin is nuts. So we're going to return it back to his hand. He does not have a buffed minion anymore. We're going to discover a mage spell. That spell is going to be Evocation. Evocation we're going to discover for kind of like a last resort. We're going to play our secret, and then we're going to play an 8/8 Edwin, which is awesome, and we'll go face for 3. I don't think we need to dagger up again. Kind of use keep dagger as where it is. Well, I guess we are going to dagger. I'm kind of thinking in retrospect, keep dagger up for if he activates the secret, because then we can just trade our face into it rather than our snakes without wasting mana. He's going to play the Eldor Truth Seeker that he top decked, which will set off Ambush. Luckily, it also sets off, I think this card's called Repentance. Yeah. Which will make it easier to trade into. Going to give it +2/+2. That doesn't really matter because we can trade in with our own stuff pretty easily. And I'm looking at what I can do here. I'm going to trade in with one of my snakes, 2 of my snakes. And we're going to go face for 13. He's down to, I believe, 5 at this point. We are going to Evocation here and hope to find Burn after these attack animations go through. There's a pretty good chance that we do. Unfortunately, after all these spells are out of our hand, we don't. I probably should not have used Prep here. Yeah, I'm looking at all the cards. I'm like, do any of these deal damage to face? Probably shouldn't have used Prepped here. Adding a random mage spell. It only costs 1. There's not really anything that is going to make it better if it's prepped. So we're going to play the side quest. We're going to play Dirty Tricks. And we're going to discover a spell damage minion. We'll take Blood Mage Thanos just for draw. And then we'll play Pharaoh Cat to add a Reborn minion to our hand. Our hand's pretty good. We have attack removal, we have return to hand, we have damage in Restless Mummy. So our hand's doing pretty well. And I think this turn he's going to Libram of Hope, which if we see our hand, we have Blackjacks in our hand, that's going to be game if he does it. Yep, there it is. Fortunately for him, that's going to be game. We do draw 2 cards. Again, those cards aren't really going to matter. He'll buff it. Again, we have Blackjack Stunner in our hand, so he's kind of game set match for him. Trading with a snake to get it off board. Return it to hand. And he's going to realize that he's going to take a whole bunch of damage to the face. And he's going to concede right now. So here's the 3rd game coming up. It's against a mage. I don't remember this one very well, so bear with me. We're going to keep the Edwin in hand, obviously. Probably keep both the Wand Thieves. Actually, we're going to kick one back. Probably not a good idea to keep duplicates in our hand. We have Coin too, which is awesome. And Plagiarize, which is also awesome. We have a really good hand. We can go off with Edwin on turn 2 if we want. Oh, we have to wait till 3, sorry. I don't remember what kind of mage this is, if it's Cyclone or Highlander. Cyclone is definitely the most popular right now. Highlander is underplayed, but apparently it's really good. This looks like Cyclone, just based off of Discover. I mean, I'm sure Highlander runs that too. We're just going to pass turn 1. He's going to Fireball face. It's fine. And we're going to play Secret in Ambush. Plagiarize. 2 to play Plagiarize against a mage. Now, if this was Druid going into their 7 mana, then we'd play that. Excuse me. He's going to play his Discovered Minion. Which is Azure Explorer. And we get a 2/3, so we don't need a Blackjack Stunner that we can anyways. We can go in with Wand Thief, which we're probably going to do. Coin VanCleef. We're going to discover a mage spell. Once it decides to load again, I'm sorry for the slowness. Yeah, we disconnected for a second. Again, that just happens when I'm running OBS and Deck Tracker. And we're going to take Incanter's Flow. It's the best one. It's the cheapest one. We're going to Shadow Step our VanCleef so we can discover another spell. And we're going to take Arcane Breath. Actually, no, we're going to take Ancient Mysteries into that card. But it's going to make, we're going to draw a spell from our deck and it's going to cost 0. And we get a 10/10 Edwin, which is awesome. Turn 3, 10/10. And we have a Poisonous Minion, we have a 1/2. We're chilling, we're doing good. In the 2 games that I've shown you guys, well, the 2 videos, I've discovered Incanter's Flow in the replay and this one. I don't think Incanter's Flow is the right card to take. I don't think it's very useful in this deck. I don't think it adds much. It makes your seekers cost 1, but I mean, you have Plagiarize. Prep, so it doesn't matter too much. He's going to freeze 2 of my minions and play Doomsayer. That'd be scary if I didn't have Blackjack Stunner. So we're going to draw a 0-cost spell from our deck. Ambush is great for when he replays the Doomsayer. And we're going to send him back to his hand and go face 4/1. Again, right now we're keeping Edwin alive. We're keeping him strong. He's a 10/10. And I'm thinking he's kind of thinking what to do because he cannot Frost Nova now and freeze my board. So he's going to Malygos. He can discover a Polymorph off this, which would kind of suck. I don't think he's discovering anything very powerful. He's definitely not discovering something that is a initial pick. Like, he's not just jumping into, hey, this card is really good, we're going to use it. But he has 0 mana. We get our ambush off. And we can trade our 2/1 ambush into it and go face for 12. 13 with Dagger. We will play Plagiarize. Just so if he plays stuff that we want, we can get it. I'm kind of fingers crossed for like a Malygos' Fireball. Again, I think the game is deciding to slow down a bit. We're going to hit him in the face for quite a bit. 15 actually. So we have lethal on board. He has to freeze our board or do something that will keep him alive. That's just the power of the deck. Like 10/10s are hard to deal with. Questing Ventures just get bigger or harder to deal with. This deck is just nuts, guys. He's looking for this is on turn 6 too. Like I kind of feel bad. Not really though, but kinda. He's thinking through some plays. Obviously the Malygos spell he discovered is not going to help him too much. He's going to maybe play a card. But right now on board we have lethal. If he plays any kind of burn, it's going to help us out anyways. He's going to play Cartoon Defender. Which kind of sucks for us because he can heal for 6. But, I mean, he can heal for 6. It's fine. We're going to play Questing Adventure. I figure if he couldn't deal with our board then, he can't deal with it now. Which I think is a pretty fair assumption. We'll go back in with the Plagiarize. We cannot backstab that, unfortunately. The real play that would have gotten Questing Adventure up to a 4/4 would have been to backstab it first, trade, and then go face. But we didn't do that, unfortunately. So Questing Adventure is only a 3/3. Do another Plagiarize, see if he does anything. We're kind of like on the back foot here, though, because if this board is clear, we're done, right? So he gets a Doomsayer off. He's going to Brain Freeze. Edwin, he's going to combust the Questing Adventure. That's not very good for us, but we get his spells, which is awesome. And those spells are going to be able to kill his Doomsayer. So we're going to cast Brain Freeze, deal 3 damage, and then combust it for 4, which will just clear the Doomsayer. I cannot do Backstab. That was a waste of a preparation. That's a terrible misplay. Why did I do that? What was I thinking? I think I realized my misplay there. If I was going to backstab, I should have just backstabbed. Why did I that's a misplay. That was a terrible misplay. I think I was kind of at the end of my annoyance with the disconnects. Well, don't do that. That's a bad misplay. You're going to do that. Backstab first, keep the prep, then combust. I mean, it's good we kept the Brain Freeze. That's going to do damage later, but it's not a good play. Fortunately, well, we don't have lethal yet, but we did draw Eviscerate, which is good. Luckily, we know this deck doesn't have a whole lot of healing in it. Brain Freeze cannot go phase, unfortunately. Luckily, our misplay with those spells didn't matter because we couldn't target Evasive Draconoid. But we have some pretty decent lethal set up. We have 4 damage on board, another 4 with Eviscerate, and then another 1 for a total of 9 with the Dagger. He's going to Dragon Caller and Flame Strike. Fortunately, that does not... No, he has enough to ping it, so that will kill the Defender, but we have enough to combo out the Eviscerate, go face for 1, and then Eviscerate for lethal. Nutty game, guys. But that's the deck. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one, which I think will be Bomb Warrior.